Hey, gun people! Gonna talk about tasers. So, I just watched a Netflix show. Stupid camera, and I'll turn it around automatically. Double screen. Always gotta go back and turn it. Alright, tasers. Just watched a thing on Netflix. I can't tell. Am I in this? I guess my head's in it. Just watched a video called Killing Them Safely on tasers. So I figured I'd talk about tasers a little bit. I'm kind of on the fence on tasers a little bit. I think they're like a lot of things that cops use. It gets overused. It becomes easy. When you make something easy and safe and no accountability, people are going to abuse it. I mean, it's just the way it is. I know a lot of cops that they'll taser somebody for the drop of the hat. You don't have to do a whole lot of paperwork. It's considered a low-level use of force. It's usually pretty effective, and there's pretty much no accountability. Nobody really questions it. So the result, people use it too easy, and it gets abused. And like most tools that law enforcement gets, it's a great idea when it starts. Then once it becomes easy to use, it gets overused, then it gets abused, and then it gets taken away. It's happened before. SAPs, gloves, whatever. I mean, they're all great things under the right circumstance, but it can be abused. So, this video on tasers, it's a pretty good show. It's about an hour and a half. It's a little slow in some area, but it sets up the people that made the taser, these two brothers, which I'm not too impressed with them. I know the video is going to make them look bad, but their answers and during their deposition, they were more worried about skirting the issue than answering the question. They were giving good, legal, coached, non-specific answers that they couldn't be tied down to. If you're ever worried about committing perjury, you want to say terms like, I don't have recollection, to the best of my recollection, as far as I can remember, I don't really have knowledge of that, I can't speculate. When you start using all these terms, basically you're saying, I don't really want to answer what the truth is, because I know the truth sounds bad. So, and these two brothers that developed tasers kind of use that terminology. The one brother, I got more problems. The one, he looks like kind of a weasel, kind of like an arrogant little cocky weasel. But, whatever. So, tasers. Why are they good and bad? Look, Taser's position, they're out to make a profit. I mean, each of them made 40 million or 50 million bucks. I mean, the company made 180 million or whatever. So, when you let a company tell you how good something is and no one else checks or verify or questions them, they're obviously going to give you a skewed or a biased opinion. When you let cops explain use of force with no one else questioning them, they're going to give you a biased definition. When you let lawyers do it, when you let cops do it, when you let racist black people do it like Sharpton, all their views are going to be very skewed and biased when you only let them define things. And again, with power comes corruption and abuse. So, especially uncontrolled or unchecked power. Right now, Taser has a monopoly on their weapon. They've got all the patents. They're the only company. They say they have all the research, and they're pushing these guns hard to agencies. And for those who have never been to cop training is usually a boys' night out, weekend of fun, or week of fun. When cops go to training, their hotels are paid for, they get a per diem for food, which usually ends up being extra money to buy booze and drink, and it's away from the family and the department and accountability, and you don't have to worry about dealing with the people. You can just kind of cut loose and be a regular person without being a cop. So, and then when you get a bunch of cops together, that only grows the partying. So cop training is usually a party. You want to sell something to the government, you want want to promote something to cops, you make the training as fun and as easy as possible. Cops will love it. Administrators will love it because the cops love it and they don't get complaints. And it's all taxpayer money, so nobody really cares. You'll make a fortune. I mean, I've never been to a cop training that was restrictive, hard, demanding, and cops didn't want to go. Most all cop training, because cops usually have the option. If you make training to where cops don't want to go, cops will say, I don't want to go. The department won't force anybody to go. It's all voluntary, so you know what? They're like, this training's no good. Your training's going to fail. If you want to sell something to cops, you better make it fun, because the government's picking up the tab and nobody cares about the money. So make it fun. And Taser has done a good job of that. I mean, their Taser training is in nice hotels and, party. And most companies that promote cop trainings, they have what's called a hospitality room, and it's free booze for all the cops to go drink. They rent a whole room, and all the cops get to go there and just drink for free in this room. Doesn't cost you anything. And it's sponsored by who's ever doing the training. So guess what? Cops want to go to that training. So guess what? That training becomes very popular in police work. Guess what? That means whatever they're selling is going to remain popular. The department's going to buy, and they're going to keep using this agency. That's just the corruption of government. Corruption of money, follow the money. Government, you follow the money because it's not their money. You just got to follow where they're spending it. So, Taser, I've seen it used I don't know how many times. I was never a huge Taser guy. I didn't usually carry one. I didn't like the cross draw. I didn't like having two guns that felt like guns. I just never liked it. I thought it was, in a crisis situation, it's a lot to put on. It doesn't get a lot of publicity when people shoot people, and the cops thought they had a Taser, because cops are trained. If you shoot somebody and you say, I thought it was my Taser, that's not a defense. You're going to be deemed incompetent. You're going to be sold out by the department, and they're going to say, you know what? This is not our liability. He's out of policy. He's not supposed to use his gun when he thinks it's a Taser. So he made the area. It's on him. You're on your own. So cops aren't going to say, as much as it happens, that I pulled my gun, I thought it was a Taser, and that's why I shot. If the shooting's justified, nobody cares. If it can, if it plays out, that's just the way it is. I know everybody's going, cops are lying. You can't try. It's not a conscious effort to go out there and lie, but it's just like, you know what? You don't want to say things that are going to incriminate you. So the last thing you want to say is, I thought I had my Taser, or I meant to go for my Taser, but I had my gun, and then when I got in a fight, I shot him, but, I really meant to have my Taser, because you're going to be screwed. Everybody's going to say, King's X, we have no liability. He did it wrong. He's not within policy. He's on his own. And no cop wants to be on his own, because when you got the department paying for it, it's not your money, it's taxpayer money, and they'll spend all kind of money. As long as you're within policy, they'll protect you. So, Tasers, they are effective. But, if you watch that movie, there's people dying from them. And, I was never a big fan of, you know what, when you put electrical charge on somebody and they stiffen up and fall to the ground, I was never convinced with all the testing that didn't hurt anybody. It just didn't make sense to me. Okay, I'm a skeptical, whatever. It just doesn't make sense that you're sending electricity through a body, that your heart works on electricity, and they use electricity to start your heart when it stops, that any amount of, and some electrician's going to be, well, you don't understand, ohms and volts and amps and, the flow of electricity and current and all that matters, and, this doesn't kill you and only amps kill you. And look, I don't care what you say. When I get shocked, it freaking hurts. Sometimes I see stars. I don't like getting shocked. When I got tased, there was an argument, and that was when I was younger, and I was a use of force instructor, so I couldn't be a wimp. So they had a taser in there, and some guys were like, hey, we heard that if you tase somebody and you're holding their arm, they'll get tased. And, me being stupid, I was like, well, shit, tase me and you guys hang on to me. Let's try it. Let's see if it works. So a couple guys held me on both arms, and they hit me in the back. And these guys thinking I'm screaming, Gah! And it hurt so bad that I ripped away from the guys holding me because of the pain. That pain was so intense it caused more of a fight response than, and again, remember, a taser, when you hit somebody, it's called a dry shock or just a direct hit, not the probes. When you just use the taser with the little thing squirting between it, it just causes a pain reflex, and it's supposedly supposed to make you stop your aggressive act because it hurts. But when the darts hit you, it sends a signal between two darts, and that electricity between the two is what causes your muscles to tense up, and you can't resist. So the taser has two functions. And I took when they hit me with that, it was a dry hit, and they just shoved it in the center of my back with guys holding me. So, and they didn't get shocked. However, if you get three guys holding and you put one probe on this guy and one probe on the last guy, everyone in between and everybody holding hands will get shocked. So, I've heard people that don't understand tasers saying, oh no, if you get tased, everybody gets shocked that's touching. No, it depends on which way you're getting tased. So there's a lot of little things about tasers, but the thing about tasers that are important is it's electricity running through a heart that runs on electrical pulses. So I never bought into it doesn't hurt you and it's totally fine. They show a couple of videos of guys dying. This one kid was stopped for speeding. Really BS tactics, 4 or 5 cops. They had the power. He wasn't really resisting. However, he did pull away from the cops when they grabbed him. And when he pulled away, most agencies are, you know what, instead of fighting with somebody physically, just pull out the taser and tase them. It's easy. Now, people, the regular public don't know how much these tasers cost. I mean, a taser is like $1,500. And each probe, when you fire that thing, it's about another $75. So when you start firing these things for testing or shooting at people and missing or dropping it and breaking it, I mean, Taser is a big business. They get a huge chunk of government taxpayer money. And of course they're going to promote their product. But people are dying from it. And cops are using it and they're abusing it. They're abusing that just like they abuse shooting dogs. They have made, it used to be you couldn't shoot a dog unless he was a danger to somebody, he was rabid or something. They have made it now, it becomes so accepted that you can shoot a dog for almost no reason. If a dog looks at you and wags his tail, I thought he's going to attack me, I shoot him. There is absolutely no accountability, no one questions it, and you just go on about your business. So they've made shooting dogs very easy with no accountability. Guess what? It's done all the time, it's done without thought, and nobody's held accountable, and it's abused. And tasers are the same way in my book. I've talked about a buddy of mine, Joe, who was Mr. Taser. And I mean, he, I don't want to give too much information about it. I don't want to give him in case somebody figures out who he is. But I mean, he's working for an agency. He just went through a psych eval, a couple years ago, and we were talking about it. And the psych goes, how many people have you tased? Because they always ask you when you're going through these psychs, and I'll do a video on the psychs. I've been meaning to do that. On how many times have you used force, how many guns do you have, how many times you fired your gun line, how many times, blah, blah. So they ask him, how many times have you tased somebody? And I was like, shit, you better have answered like 500,000. He goes, dude, I only told her 400 and she freaked out. He goes, I know it was over 400, but he goes, you should have seen her freak out when she found out I tased 400 people. Now I'm laughing, and I was with him on several tases. And he was just a taser guy. I mean, his agency promoted it. It was easy. He had it. And his agency didn't want people fighting and sticking people. They were a little bit harder on that. So the agency made it very easy for officers to use a taser. And man, he used that sucker in a split second. He slowed down a little bit the more he worked with me because I was like, dude, we don't need to use that. Keep your taser in your pocket. So we would have a little spats about, oh, why you always cracking? Why you wanting to? Because I just like, you know what? I think you're a little quick on the trigger on taser. And I told one of my crazy cop stories. All right. Well, I'm on my 15-minute time limit on tasers. Good, bad, indifferent. I'm on YouTube. I bought these toothpaste out here. My buddy said I'm anal because I use all my toothpaste, and he goes, man, you won't throw away that toothpaste. You got every inch. I go, yeah, don't everybody do that? So if anybody else out there thinks that you shouldn't waste toothpaste and not use, I still have a couple more I can get out of this one. This one's pretty much gone. But anyway, I thought that was kind of funny that he says something anal about my toothpaste, and I was like, I'm going to ask my YouTubies. All right, gun people, we'll end that there.